Welcome back. So have you heard of emotional granularity? It's your brain's ability to precisely identify subtle differences between emotions.
Well, our next guest says that it could be the key to dealing with repressed emotions that can hijack our mental health. So please welcome back to the show, clinical psychologist Anna-Maria Tosco. Welcome back.
Hello, thank you for having
Welcome
me.
back.
Hi.
Okay. Emotional repression.
Yeah.
It sounds really hefty. So why is this such a big deal?
Yeah, I think people know about emotional repression, but I think people underestimate the consequences of it. I mean, research does show that repressing your emotions leads to poor mental health. And we take anxiety, for example. We know that anxiety involves catastrophic thinking about the future or being worried about judgment. But some practitioners believe, no, you're not afraid about getting on that plane. No, you're not afraid about being judged in the grocery store. Instead, you're actually scared. A lot of us are scared to experience the emotions affiliated with those things. So that's why in treatment or in therapy, we can't bypass the emotional work. We need to feel it, absorb it temporarily, understand it, because otherwise, what people don't know is the anxiety won't go away if you don't do this.
So you gotta feel your emotions, you gotta touch them. And a lot of people like to box them all up inside themselves and leave them with the key sort of somewhere
That's why
else.
I'm here, yeah.
But where does this actually action of repressing our emotions come from? Where does it start?
Yeah, this is where we have to look back, you know, into the past and see, hey, how were our emotions dealt with? Were they met with compassion? Were they met with patience? Or were they met with, suck it up. Yeah, why are you crying, you know? Or consequences, punishments, because if that was the case, then you learned that emotions weren't safe, and so we grew up into adults who end up repressing our emotions.
So it's not safe to express them.
Exactly.
So you say that an effective way to deal with repressed emotions is to improve our emotional granularity. What the heck does that mean?
Yeah, I get it. So basically, if we think about negative emotions, oftentimes it's like a big blob of bad. Emotional granularity is about being precise. It's about filing our emotions away like a librarian, let's say. So sadness would be the library wing, hurt might be the library section, and then irritation would be the actual shelf. So it allows our brains to understand the nuances between those similar emotions so we know what to do with it. You know, we have to name it before we tame it, if you will.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So how can we learn to improve sort of the skill of that granularity?
I think it's really hard, to be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, which is why I like to use the FACE acronym that we're going to talk about now. It allows people to understand emotional processing a bit better.
Okay.
Okay, so for the first letter, it is F, find the feeling. What is that?
So this is where emotional granularity can come into play, along with these beautiful emotions charts, or wheels, if you will. They're everywhere on the internet. But if we take anger, for example, okay, a big blob of anger, can we be more specific? If you look under the pieces of the pie under anger, can it be more specifically irritation, or can it be resent, or can it be, annoyance? Because I gotta tell you, the higher the emotional granularity, the research shows, less anxiety, less depression, less stress, and can we please acknowledge how amazing your relationships will be if you can precisely identify emotions and then express them that way? Here for it.
Yeah. Okay, so can you give us some examples of statements with higher emotional granularity and then lower emotional granularity?
Like when it comes to anger, for example.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say low emotional granularity. I'm angry at my date. High emotional granularity. He never offered to drive me to the airport. He never offered to drive me to the airport. It was important to me, right? Or low granularity. My husband and I and my kids have been in Airbnb for 3 months for home renovations. Low granularity, I'm so stressed. No, high granularity, I'm so overwhelmed with the amount of stuff we have to do to get this house ready. And when I did that, just the relief that came with the precision, it really did decrease anxiety, I have to say.
Okay, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next step in your acronym is accept that it's here, I think. Accept?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah, essentially just looking upon your emotion today with the eyes of a compassionate adult. Not like perhaps what you experienced in the past. You're here, you're now, you can find a safe place, right, to feel your emotions.
Accept, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so up next is C, which is connect with your body.
Yeah, this one is very cool as well. So when we have individuals who are really admittedly bad with emotions, we have them experience or tell us about the physiological sensations first before getting them to label it. right? So we have a research, right, that shows what emotions look like in the body. And this
No
is
way.
so, yes, it's so cool.
Is this actual scans?
Actual research, actual scans, self-report measures, and physiological measures. It shows what the emotions look like in the body. Blue means a decrease in activity in those areas, and orange means an increase of activity in those areas. So what's really cool is that if you really don't know about emotions, you don't have the language, you can start with the physiology first, and then maybe, you know, match it up.
I love that happiness and love are like almost all red.
That was so cool.
I love it.
It's very cool.
Okay, so we do have a few body scan images, and we're actually going to try to guess what they represent. Okay, so here is the first one. So that I feel like we just looked at it. Is it surprise?
I think it's anger.
This one's anger.
Oh,
Yeah.
Anger, so you feel the fire right down to your fists. But what's really cool?
Sorry, inside joke, sorry.
No, but what's really, this is really cool because you're not feeling anything in your legs because you're standing and fighting.
Yeah.
Right down to your fist. You're standing and you're ready.
Got it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look. I like this game. Let's look at another one.
Yeah.
Let's look at another and guess what
I
it
think
is.
that's sadness. Sadness, do we think?
Sadness?
What do you think?
Ooh.
What is it?
Depression.
Depression. Yeah.
But think about how intuitive this is. Listen, the black means everything's functioning normally. There's no increase or decrease. But the blue means there's a decrease in activity. So this is really a testament to the lethargy in depression or the lack of motivation in depression. Right?
Wow.
Okay, so we have one more image. Let's see that.
Wow.
Okay, so we're going to do this really quickly. Is
Ooh.
love?
It is love.
It's love.
It's love.
You know what we're gonna say?
It's love.
I was gonna say horniness.
Oh,
Yeah,
kind of in the same realm.
But yes, no, because look, there is activity in the base chakra. There is activity there. So is your heart.
Okay. Before we let you go, we only have a little tiny bit of time left.
Yep.
We want to do the last step in your process. It's express wisely. How do we do that?
Express to yourself first and foremost, but then when you want to express outwardly, choose someone who's emotionally intelligent and can hold a space. We don't want to re-traumatize, right?
Yes.
Somebody who can leave a space for your emotions is really important.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Like a friend or a therapist.
Yes.
And wait, not ChatGPT. Right? Anna-Maria, this is so cool.
Oh, I'm so happy you like
my
it.
gosh.
Yeah, I love it too.
We want that chart,
Yep,
okay?
you got it.
Insightful help all the time. Thank you so, so much. That is so cool.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.